So each team has 24 minutes to present a case to the judges. I will hold up the time for the last 12, 7, and 2 minutes, as well as for the last 30 seconds of the presentation. During the last 10 seconds, I will indicate with my fingers the number of seconds remaining. If you have not finished your presentation after 24 minutes, you will be stopped in order to proceed with the Q&A period. A Q&A period of a maximum of 4 minutes is allocated to the jury at the end of your presentation. The first 12 minutes of the presentation are considered productive. This means that team can proceed without worrying about being interrupted by the judges. During the next 10 minutes, the judges have the right to interrupt the presentation to ask questions of clarification on this topic at this time. During this period, the beam will be turned on. You can see it on the first row. The judge should be limited to a 15-second question. The team must answer the question but can then continue this presentation without waiting for the judge's consent. Judges may not ask questions about a topic has already been covered or has not yet been presented. These issues will be addressed during the question period at the end of the presentation. The last 2 minutes of the presentation are to conclude the presentation and are immune to judges' questions. Please note that at any time you cannot say or refer to the name or the location of your university. I will not let the judges introduce themselves. You can start your presentation when they're finished.
Hi, my name is Marie-Claude Morin. I'm a business reporter for Les Affaires Montréal.
Bonjour, mon nom est Sylvie Perron, directrice générale Événement Cambridge de Centre-Rivière.
Michael Rogers, Regional Vice President of Sales for SFL.
Jean Jacques, researcher for Société de Recherche pour le Bien.
Martin Poirier, I'm working with the SFL department. Jean.
Welcome.
So, I just want to start off with a couple questions. Premièrement, combien de personnes, combien de familles est pris au dépourvu à chaque fois que quelqu'un, un membre de la famille, meurt et ne laisse aucun argent, aucune somme pour les aider pour les funérailles ou pour les dettes qui arrivent? Combien d'étudiants, combien de professionnels arrivent à un accident de travail et n'ont plus les moyens pour travailler, pour subvenir à leurs besoins? On prend à la légère beaucoup les assurances. On le prend très à la légère, mais en fait, c'est quelque chose de très crucial. En fait, SFL, membre du conseil administratif, vous avez fait un énorme travail, vous avez construit votre compagnie sur l'industrie de l'assurance, et à partir de là, ça grandit depuis les dernières années. Et nous sommes ici, moi, Christopher, Karim Bakari et Francesca Conetiani, pour vous offrir notre stratégie pour avancer vers le futur. Le reste de la présentation va être fait en anglais, mais à la fin de la présentation, on vous invite à poser vos questions en français ou en anglais, et ça nous fera un plaisir de vous répondre. So, for the agenda for today, we're going to talk about first the current situation of SFL, competitors, how are they doing in the industry, then our decision process about what strategy we took, what alternatives we considered, and we will move on then to the three-pronged plan. What are we recommending for SFL, the financial impact, implementation, and finally our sprint forward, 3 key takeaways that you will take away after this presentation. So first of all, competitive landscape. As you can see, 3 great companies out there in insurance. Great West, Sun Life, Manivi own 60% of the industry, where SFL owns 7% and others only 33%. Why is the 3 lives so good, so great, so big? First of all, they have a long history. They've been there for such a very long time. They're very stable companies, and they're very conservative on their way to process that they do insurance, the way they offer products, and all the products that the process that they use in offering insurance. However, with the growing industry, the industry is changing little by little, and these great companies, these big companies, have a lot to do in order to follow these trends. The industry first has become a lot more fast-paced. Individuals, clients, customers have become fast-paced. They're more convenience. They're searching for more convenience, on-the-go connections, and so on. They're still looking for trust and relationship in their advisors, and finally, they're also still looking for security. Therefore, we've seen a lot of companies nowadays that are adapting to these trends, such as Geico, ING, Amazon or Apple, that's going online, that's creating these new platforms, these new ways, these new trends and channels in order to adapt to the needs of this new industry and these new customers. So therefore, these three lives or these three big companies are strong, but it's strong enough. If you're long history, stable, conservative, it also maybe mean that you're slow, you're outdated, you're unpersonalized, and you're less adaptable because you're such a big industry, such a big player in the industry, that you're less being unpersonalized with the clients and what their clients are changing and their needs. So therefore, SFL in the industry right now, it's a franchise chain, 700 advisors, 16 centers. They are partners with Desjardins, but they have 13.5 billion in assets in their company, 3.5% market share in Quebec, and 7% in Canada. What this means is that SFL is big enough and at the same time small enough to be adaptable and maneuverable in this new industry and these new trends that are changing with us.
All right, so let's dive into the problem. What exactly is SFL facing today? How is this relevant for you, and what are our steps moving forward? So the first thing that we understood is that you operate in an industry that is highly commoditized with a lot of standardization for both your products and your prices. We also noticed that in the upcoming years, you will be facing lower prices and potentially also customer losses. However, what we noticed is that this, in fact, is an industry-wide problem that you will face as well as all of your competitors. And what this means is that this is not necessarily within our control, and therefore we must focus on what makes us differentiated from our competitors, and that we believe is service. And this is what we will base our recommendation upon. So we will not be focusing on industry-wide problems. We truly believe that SFL has a lot of potential, and we are excited to be here today to present our plan for you. By implementing the Partners for Easy Living strategy, SFL will successfully improve its perception within the insurance industry. It will also enhance its connection to both your clients and your customers. And lastly, and perhaps most importantly, generate an NPV of $9 to about $12.5 million for you within 3 years. We had some key non-negotiables for your company that we understand we have to adhere to moving forward, and whatever recommendation we choose to implement today has to also adhere to these criteria. The first is innovation. You operate in an industry, as I mentioned before, that's very standardized. So therefore, you have to continuously modify and change your products and try to create something and a new connection with your customers. The second is increasing returns. Of course, you're a profit-driven company, and at the end of the day, you have to be profitable. Third, we believe growth is essential. You're a very customer-centric company. You need to both increase your customer base and your clients. And lastly, of course, trust and reliability. You operate in a business with a lot of risk. Customers don't necessarily see the benefit of insurance, and therefore you have to establish a connection, a relationship with your customers. On the customer side, we also looked at what are their key priorities in your company. And we believe the first is compatibility. What we mean by this is that they are able to take your products and easily integrate them into their lives. It's something very user-friendly, something very easy to understand as well. And we believe that you are already targeting this very efficiently. The second is security. As I mentioned before, this is a huge risk for them. They have to trust your company and also know that there's confidentiality in that relationship. Of course, relationship is definitely another key priority for them. Having that interaction, that daily interaction with their advisors, and ensuring that they're well followed through along their progress with your company. And lastly, transparency, as was highlighted in the information provided. They want to know what your company is up to. They want to also be connected and have communication with your company, your brand, your platform, and what it has to offer. Therefore, we believe we have 3 key alternatives for you today that we evaluated ourselves. The first would be to edit the brand. You currently have a very strong brand, however, we believe that there's even more potential for it. And the second would be an acquisition with one of the top 3 firms in the insurance industry, such as Sun Life, for example. However, in doing so, you would lose your independence as well as your culture. And we believe that that is definitely a unique aspect, and we want to keep that. And therefore, this is not a good option. And the third would be to expand to the British Columbia regions. We noticed that there will be tremendous growth within the upcoming years. However, we do not believe that you are fully ready for growth to take on that task, and therefore we recommend first building your brand internally, and then within the next few years, being able to expand. As you can see here, the choice is very clear. So as you can see here, there are the criteria that we mentioned for your company, and repositioning your brand is definitely the way to go moving forward. With respect to your customers, it also satisfies all of their key priorities. Therefore, this is obviously a very good choice, and our strategy for you today will be how to reposition your brand in 3 ways.
So, for the strategy that we're proposing to you today is SFL 2.0. What does it mean? Is the main model or the main tagline is partners for easy living. Everybody's changing, consumers are changing, customers are changing, and we have to change with them. We've placed this into 3 main strategies. First, replace, reposition, and then restructure. Replace, first of all, is to create a new mentorship program, an internal program to recruit more, better, and more efficient workers in the company internally. Secondly, reposition, that is to reposition the brand. Creating a brand mascot, repositioning, and communicating this new name, this new proposition that we have for consumers, and that in that order to connect with consumers. Finally, we propose a restructure of the way, a bit of the way we're doing business through social media and through an online platform that we find very innovative, and we're going to propose to you in the next coming minutes.
Thank you. So now let's start by looking at the first of the 3 different basically parts of the strategy that we're going to recommend to you today. So the first one is going to be replace. And we're going to go about that by first looking at the issues that your current recruitment process has. So from our personal experience in working for financial services industries, we've noticed that there are several issues in the way that these industries and these companies find new employees and actually train them. And today we're going to present to you another solution that will allow you to basically change the way you hire new people, and also that's going to be very beneficial to you for many years to come. So basically, what we noticed today is that, first of all, most insurance companies, as well as personal finance firms, really rely on people who have industry experience and who basically change career in their 30s and their 40s. So what's good with that is the fact that they have industry experience, and most importantly, they have a really good network of people who they can reach out to in order for them to become clients. And this is something that obviously we value a lot. However, the problem is that if we invest in training these people who are already in their 30s or their 40s, they're going to have less active years, let's say, before they retire. And therefore, this investment that we make into their training program is not going to be worthwhile, since it's not going to be basically profitable in the long term. And also, the other thing that we noticed with insurance companies and with basically companies in the personal finance industry is that they're really not active in on-campus recruitment. So we don't really see them a lot in universities, and also they're not really active in the sense that they don't really reach out to students. And we think that this is really a consequence of the fact that this is a commission-based industry. So obviously, when you think about the students who come out of school, recently graduated, and look for a first job, they want a job that will allow them to have some kind of financial stability and to gain some stable salary. And this is not something that most financial advisors have, notably at first. And the thing is that we know that the biggest challenge for these people is not necessarily the financial aspect of the job, but rather what comes with basically looking for clients and building this network. And this is something very difficult for students, since most of them only know, for example, other students who are not willing to invest in life insurance, for example, at the moment. And this is really an issue that we should deal with in this case. And therefore, we propose to you a different approach in recruiting students. And the way it would work is a 3-step approach. So first of all, you would have a year-long internship. And the idea behind this is that we noticed that when you give a summer internship to a student, for example, the idea is that they have to look out for basically potential clients, and they're going to be able to build their own client list. But the problem is that during the summer, it's really difficult to do. So we think that if we give them a year-long internship, which is only part-time and only commission-based, they will be able to basically, all the people they meet at school or through their networking events, etc., are becoming potential clients. And what we're going to do is that we're going to pair these students with a mentor, for example, who works for the firm and who is going to take on these clients, and then both of of them will benefit from this strategy, since the advisor will gain some percentage of the fees, and the student will obviously learn and build his own list. Then during the summer, he will take on and actually actively manage some of the clients, and also will learn from the mentor right away. And this is obviously something very good. So yes.
Would he or she be licensed? Would they have their licenses to manage?
Not yet, actually. This is just the first, basically first step approach. So before they're licensed and pass the exam, they will just work with the advisor, and they will learn that way. And they will basically both benefit from that. And finally, after graduation, then the student will have his own client list already, which they would take on from the mentor they had, and then that will allow them to basically have already a foot in the door. And this is something that will make these students less basically likely to leave the industry, since basically they already have this client list, and also less likely to change company, because basically they wouldn't be able to take out this client list, since it would belong to the firm. And therefore, the benefits from this strategy is that it will only attract the best graduates, since we're going to really be having a restrictive and selective recruitment process, and also we're going to be able to increase the retention rate thanks to what we just discussed, basically all the incentives, and also we're going to be able to take advantage from the network of these new workers, which are all in their 20s, and finally give a younger image to SFL.
So now that Kareem has delved into how we will begin to replace the current system you're using to attract and retain your employees, I will now go into how to reposition your brand. So your brand, currently SFL, you are very strong, but you are not memorable. And we took a lot of thought into this. We visited your website. We tried to see what kind of presence you have. And we noticed that a lot of people find you are a bit dull, lacking color, and most importantly, there's a French aspect behind your brand. With regards to the insurance industry, a lot of people are very skeptical about it, as it is very profit-driven, and they do not find that they really care about their customers. And therefore, these are two opportunities today that we have to create a new image for your company. Why is this so crucial? As we mentioned before, we have to continuously attract incoming clients to replenish our customer base that is slowly declining in age. We also have a very weak brand personality and create a better brand awareness. And we really based it and benchmarked it on Geico's success with the Lizard implementation, which really improved their brand awareness and overall success for their company. Therefore, we have two targets for you today. The first is to improve brand recognition through the implementation of a mascot. And the second would be to actually trigger that purchase. So not only awareness, but also stimulate our customers to actually go to your industry, to your company, and sign on for a plan with your company. Our clients currently are generation boomers. Now, although this is a very spectacular fact because they have a lot of wealth, they're very wealthy, they hold a lot of property, they have a very high value. However, what's happening is that the population is aging very quickly. And therefore, as you know, you're in the business industry, you continuously have to replenish your customer base. The problem mainly with these generation boomers is that they no longer invest for the future. Instead, they are dispersing. And the problem with this for you is that, in fact, your profits would be declining if you continue to focus on the generation boomers. Therefore, today, we will present a plan for how to attract Generation Y and Z. As you know, they're young parents, they're around 16 to 25 years old, and they're very much booming currently. They're immersed in IT, there's a lot of potential to grab them right now, create that customer loyalty, and build on it in the years to come. And therefore, this opportunity is to replenish your existing customer base and also have that security for the long term. So what we want to strive for in terms of your image is to create a very vibrant, energetic firm. We notice that a lot of people view insurance as very boring and also in terms of very burdening for them. They have to meet with an advisor. It's a very lengthy process. What we want to do is create an image that's much more energetic, very speedy, and seamless with their current lifestyle. How we will achieve this is in two steps. The first is create a new proposition that we will adhere to. And this is the tagline, Partners for Life, or Partners for Easy Living, making living very easy. And the way that we will communicate this is through an ad campaign highlighting speed. So we'll have a brand mascot. We've chosen a gazelle because it embodies speed and energy. And we will have a TV ad that highlights the fact that we are here to help instead of burden our customers. On the other hand, we will also launch an ad campaign on social media, and we will sponsor several events such as triathlons and Ironman, for example, to create visibility and interest in our brand. Therefore, we will be able to increase the fact that it is in our evoked set, also the emotional appeal for the brand, and it will finally have significance in the consumer's minds. And for us, as I mentioned before, you're really stimulating them to purchase, you're gaining that brand awareness, and we believe this is absolutely necessary for you today.
So as my colleague mentioned, first we wanted to replace. So we integrated a new internship program, which will create more better and more efficient workers internally. Secondly, reposition. Repositioning is to reposition our brand, creating a new mascot, the gazelle, fast, efficient, and always adapting to everybody's need. With this, we add on an ad campaign. Now, we want to focus more on the service aspect. In the information provided, they said that service takes a lot of time, but in an industry like insurance, service is key because products are the same, the people and relationship are different, and that's what we can manage and that's what we can change. So for restructure, we need to bridge the gap between our clients that are fast-moving, that are fast-paced, like I spoke of in the industry, but also at the same time needing, catering to them their personal needs and that relationship building that they have. So what we're proposing is to going online. First, the personal aspect that we have, face-to-face meeting, will build that relationship. We'll first create that portfolio that you can present to clients, and we have that adaptability that every client and customers wants. Secondly, going online, however, we would have first the first mover advantage. As I mentioned earlier, the three big insurance companies don't have that strong of a presence online yet. We will be following new trends because of the fast pace, the lifestyle of the new customers, easy to use, and a bit less invasive than a personal face-to-face, and I will talk about it soon. So it's a three-step process. First, online pairing up. We'll explain it very soon. Secondly, personal needs survey. And finally, meeting the advisor and creating that portfolio for the clients. How does the pairing up work? So first, we will use social media as a means to attract clients. We've already been using it, but we want to bump it a bit more and give it more investments in order to create that interest for clients. Facebook for promotion, reach events. Twitter, create a community through Twitter, and finding blogs on vices, articles on personal finances that we can have. Then, let's say for example, I'm a new client. My name's Chris. As you can see, I love basketball, I love Michael Jordan, I love Usher, Simple Plan, and I just graduated. I'm starting to work at a new bank. How does this work? We have advisors that's my profile. We have advisors that has their profile online at the same time. Kareem, the insurer, he loves basketball, same thing. He loves the same type of music. We're matched. This match creates that human interaction between both of us and creates that first bond of trust that we can have in interacting with each other. How did this benefit both sides? First, insurers increase that success rate because you can already be familiar with who you're dealing with, and you know that they have the same interests as you, or the same type of clients that you have. Secondly, he's able to adapt to your needs because your needs are changing. He understands your needs. He already dealt with clients with your needs, so you're able to adapt easily. That first match, that first interest, that first likability will create this human interaction between both of us, and it won't be a cold call, but it will be a more warm call between the client and the insurer. Finally, this profile will be a personal brand for the insurer, and that will help the insurer create its own brand, create its network. For clients, it's easy to modify. You can be on the go, access it. If your needs are changing, if your lifestyle are changing, you can access it online and change your style and change your needs, and the insurer will see it and adapt the portfolio to your needs. It's more convenient, less invasive, because the personal survey will be done online, and then you don't have to discuss your personal needs with a personal advisor at the beginning.
Thank you. So now that we know what the strategy is, let's take a look at basically whether or not it is financially feasible. So obviously as a financial institution, you want to basically be sure that this strategy is the best for you financially. And so let's take a look at basically, first of all, how much this is going to cost you. So we looked at basically the two most important parts of the cost structure. First of all, the rebranding, and then the online profiles and interaction. So for the rebranding, we looked at the analysis and planning of this new mascot, and then the design, and also the implementation cost and the ad campaign, and that amounts to $6 million. That's an initial investment. And then for the profiles, there's obviously the IT infrastructure, and then the IT specialist, which we have to hire for this, and that amounts to almost 700,000. And then, obviously, when you look at the revenues, this is basically the step approach that we took when estimating the revenue, but we can discuss it more in detail in the Q&A. And finally, the revenue stream that we will generate from this strategy is as follows, with revenue, well, first of all, initial investment at first, and revenue increasing in years to come. And the takeaway value from this presentation is really the $9 to $12.5 million 3-year NPV, which you will generate thanks to that. And we can explain the assumptions in the Q&A as well. And the payback period is 1 year.
So finally, for risk and mitigation, we do have some risks that are potentially there. First, interns leave after training. We've assessed that with a selective application process through our internship, through a 1-year internship that will emerge them into the tasks and responsibilities of advisors. Secondly, loss of older conventional clients. That won't happen because we will communicate the relevance of the brand change and the repositioning of our brand. Finally, low interaction on profile platform. This will create this profile platform that will connect clients together, connect insurers with clients, and that will create that final needs to be met. Imitation from competitors, yes, there may be potential imitators, but at the same time, we're first movers. We are small enough to be adaptable, and this will help us into mitigating that risk. So as you see, the problem is first, low partnership focus, non-existing brand associations, and high turnover of employees. And we've covered these problems with a couple of solutions, which are replace, reposition, and restructure. As you can see, the impact is overall increase in market share, and it's to build a long-term bridge, a long-term aspect to our clients between insurers and their clients. Thank you.
I'll go with my first question. When I look at what you've presented at the end of the day, what's the difference between what you've presented us and something similar like Geico, what they did in the United States? Or Industrielle Alliance with the elephant mascot here in Quebec or something like that?
So what's the difference, or what's the...
What's the difference?
What's the difference? There's not a difference. It's what Geico has done, what ING has done. ING has to go all their platform online. Geico has built this recognizable brand with their lizard, and that's what we want to build with SFL. SFL currently, marketing is through looking, you're seeing yourself in the soup of SFL, but it doesn't create that brand association. If here we're proposing a gazelle, we can modify it, animate it, or a real gazelle, and that will click when you see a gazelle, when you see it on TV. That automatically associates it with SFL. So it's not necessarily a difference, but it's what Geico and ING does really well that we want to benchmark on in order to move forward with SFL.
What kind of ad campaign are you thinking about?
So the first one would be a TV campaign, because we did notice that the majority of our existing customers today are older generation, so they are more likely to watch TV than to be on social media. And that would be an ad, for example, we would have from transitioning to a doctor, to say a teacher, and then to finally our brand, so SFL, being there for our customers, being able to help and assist them versus just wanting their money from them. So that would be the first thing, and that would run for 3 months around. And we expect a lot of visibility from that, and of course adoption as well of our brand. And the second campaign that we had in mind was on social media, so really leveraging network effects with our younger population, getting them to spread our image, which would be the gazelle, so perhaps in a more comical way to really click with the mind of the consumer. That was what we had in mind.
I will ask my question in French.
Yes, please do.
Vous avez présenté trois choix de stratégie. Une stratégie de marque, une stratégie d'acquisition, une stratégie d'expansion. Est-ce que vous faites une priorisation entre ces stratégies ou bien vous choisissez une stratégie principale?
Alors en fait, les 3 stratégies qu'on a présentées, c'est des 3 options qu'on avait en ce moment. Celle qu'on a trouvée qui était la plus appropriée pour l'instant, c'est celle qu'on a présentée parce qu'on s'est dit que ça adressait les problèmes qu'on avait en ce moment. Pardon? C'est en fait le rebranding, donc changer l'image de la firme. Ensuite, ce qu'on pense, c'est qu'au long terme, il faudrait faire de l'expansion. Et donc ça, c'est vraiment une stratégie au long terme. Par contre, c'est pas une priorité en ce moment. Et pour ce qui est de l'acquisition, c'est pas quelque chose qu'on considère en ce moment, puisque comme on l'a mentionné, on a des valeurs et également une culture qu'on veut préserver. Et on croit que si on se fait acquérir par une plus grande compagnie, ça sera perdu. Donc on ne considère pas ça pour l'instant.
How long will it take to rebrand and reposition this strategy? What do you think?
So we did a rolling out plan for you. So first of all, it's the first, right now, what we're going to do tomorrow is to build the new proposition, implement it throughout the company, throughout your client, throughout internally, and then in the next 6 months, short term, we plan to find in the next 6 months, when you build all the ad campaigns, build the platform, then you will release it onto the more external clients, consumers. So by focusing on the internal first, you will have that people that be loyal to the brand, know the proposition, and be able to expand it outward afterwards.
And what exactly is short, medium, long term?
Yes, so exactly. I'm sorry for this. So first, right now is the short term, next 0 to 6 months. From 6 months on, we will be on campus recruitment, launching the platform and promotion of the new image and platform. And from 6 months to 2 years, that's when we're gonna reassess how our plan went, what changes needs to be done, and so on, and maybe expand throughout Canada.
That question for Isabel.